Thank you for joining us on Data Cloud Now, where we bring you the latest in all things data in business and industry. I'm Ryan Green, and I'm joined by Joyce Drohan, Global Chief Data Officer at Sanofi. Joyce, such a pleasure sitting down with you today.
Thanks, Ryan. Thanks for inviting me.
I want to start off with big picture. As CDO, how are you using data to help your teams across 100 countries stay true to the mission of chasing miracles of science to improve people's lives?
Well, it hasn't been easy, Ryan. 100 countries, we have a number of business units across Sanofi, and it really is getting them around that singular mission of chasing the miracles of science. And really that's going to be driven through data, and that's going to be driven through how we use data for artificial intelligence and machine learning, and then how we use that to create insights. So it's going to be really important for us to actually work together on that.
You know, I want to pivot slightly away from macro in big picture and discuss your transition to the data cloud. How has this allowed you to turn really the impossible into possible?
Well, I mean, the data cloud is ideal for us to do things where we want to have a single source of truth. We want it to be something that we can actually have a single spot where we use data instead of duplicating it in multiple different areas, and be able to share data across a large organization like Sanofi.
Back to the kind of the macro trends, I think we can both agree that healthcare over the past 3 years has forever changed. You know, from your seat as a CDO, you know, what trends are you noticing in the industry, and how has data allowed you to adapt in real time and meet the ever-changing needs of your clients?
I think the main thing is that all of us have changed over this past 3 years. So healthcare now has to respond to that. Pharmaceuticals have to respond to that during this kind of crazy 3 years with the pandemic. Expectations are higher. We need to get our drugs to patients faster, just like you saw with the vaccines. And Sanofi is the largest vaccine manufacturer in the world. We need to make sure that we do this quickly. And the way to do these things quickly is to make sure that we use data efficiently. We turn that into insights. We use artificial intelligence, machine learning to do these things. Because if you think about the mRNA vaccine by itself, just looking at that mRNA strand, it's 3 to the 100 exponent. So that's 40.
I can't fathom it.
It's 40 zeros. We're never going to be able to do that without machine learning. So it has to happen that way, and it has to happen efficiently. And everyone wants it to happen efficiently. There's not going to be the patience of waiting 20 years for a drug to get developed like there used to be. It'll be, can you guys do this in 2 years? And so that's what's going to be happening.
You know, I want to get personal with you slightly. You know, over this period of time, is there a situation that you remembered where data was able, you know, the processing of data, you were able to make a decision, you know, much quicker, and then as an end result, hear it from the patient of, hey, this was a great outcome?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult. We don't get to hear it directly from the patient at any point in time. It'll always be through the amazing doctors and healthcare professionals that we work with, but we use it to find ways that even real-world data that patient experiences the way that they use a medication helps us actually decide on what to use the medication for in the future as well. So actually those things are heavily involved in data. It's from wearables that you have and tells us what people are thinking or doing or feeling at the time, or what their heart rates are when they're on medication, and helps us do things like that.
You know, Joyce, as we've talked about throughout this program, you know, the scale at which you're operating is global. You know, how do you keep that consistent mission each and every day? And I think the audience would love to hear, you know, what mission Sanofi is all about and how they continue to execute day to day.
Sure, Ryan. I mean, the mission overall of Sanofi is to chase the miracles of science. And what do we mean by chasing the miracles of science? We're in a phase where we have lots of scientists that discover things, and then they have to figure out which things are actually going to help people be better, either through vaccination or through medication for cancer or medication for an immunocompromised patient of some description. So chasing the miracles of science becomes really important, and that's all powered by data. And so those data become insights. Those insights are created through artificial intelligence. And that's how we actually deliver on, you know, making people's lives better and chasing those miracles of science.
You know, and you touched on it earlier as it relates to recruitment in the last 3 years, what you've seen. Have you noticed that, you know, the people coming in that want to work for you are living and breathing that every day, and that's a significant aspect of the current workforce and will continue to be a driving factor?
It is, and it's changed a lot too, because Gen Z is actually just entering the workforce now, and I've noticed a difference between, millennials and Gen Zs. And there is this kind of environmental piece. There's this, one of the people that I hired recently said, I want to be heard and I want to make a difference. And actually, I kind of take that with me whenever I meet with new people that are joining, and I think about that. How are they going to make a difference? And no better mission than chasing the miracles of science, especially everyone's gone through the same thing over the last 3 years. All of us were locked down. All of us were lining up for vaccines. All of us did these things now that they can actually see where they would benefit from that and where they can input into that. And it's not just through being a doctor or a nurse or something like that. It's through also being a data scientist. It's through being a data engineer. It's being a computational scientist. You can do all this stuff and then support and enable that amazing discovery of medicines that are going to change a lot of people's lives.
And it's also a feeling. When you were bringing that up, I went back to, I was in Brooklyn at the time. I remember being, sheltered in place for 3 months. I left my apartment twice. I mean, to your point, I mean, it's you're never going to forget that moment. And, I just want to say congrats to you and the entire team of driving impact for millions of people.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, we have an absolutely amazing team, from the people in the lab to the people that are working on the data to the people that help to move drugs around from that supply chain and manufacturing. So it's an amazing organization. Sanofi's, all over the world. And it really is a heartening place to work in terms of building and chasing those miracles of science.
Joyce, we started this conversation about the fact that, Sanofi has members of the team across 100 countries. I want to talk about, your management philosophy and how you go about thinking about building a world-class team, because at the end of the day, everyone's in it together.
That's right. It really is all about the team and all about the people and getting amazing world-class people that are going to work together to solve problems. And, we were on a huge recruitment spree over the last year. And, what we need to do is harmonize people around that purpose. And we are chasing the miracles of science. Like, you actually get to do machine learning, you actually get to do data to discover the next, RSV vaccine, to discover something that'll help childhood cancer. You get to do some really amazing things. And, we tell people sometimes when I'm recruiting is that do you want to use your amazing skills to help people click on ads, or do you want to join us and do something different?
I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it.
You want to join?
Right. No, because to your point, it's you want to have a direct impact on millions of lives. Here you go.
And I think that the last 3 years have really pushed us that way. We can see actually the benefit of medicines, the benefit of vaccines, why we need them. I think that before COVID, people kind of took for granted they had medicine to do things. And now you can't find, a painkiller on the shelf, or you can't find, and when things aren't around, you start to now realize that scarcity, that we need to spend time, we need to spend effort on this, and it helps keep the population well. And we really haven't had that in our lifetime.
And I think also to go a little bit further than that too, as it relates to rolling drugs out faster, now everyone is aware of deliverables on how long a vaccine gets to market. Now that's primary focus. You got to move faster.
Well, exactly. And who heard about supply chain before that, right?
Like, now it's on everyone's
it's supply chain for everything. I mean, supply chain for getting goods and services that you have to buy at for the holidays, but it also has to do with medication. I mean, every medication we have has hundreds of different ingredients that actually go into actually producing this. And that's a supply chain. And then when you get it, the other supply chain, taking it to a pharmacy or a doctor or hospital, is just another supply chain that is going to be powered by clean, nice data. And it's going to be powered by, smart solutions that are cognitive. And it's the only way that we're going to be able to manage all this. It's a lot to do, if you can imagine, if we were doing it on paper. Or someone had an Excel, someone had an Excel spreadsheet deciding on where things were going to go. You really need that kind of visibility and automation to do that.
And always, adapting, innovating, using the data to make the best decisions going forward on a day-to-day basis.
Absolutely. You want to be efficient, you want to be fast, and you want to make sure that, you're saving humans to do, good judgment decisions on it, rather than kind of moving things around, which is a perfect solution for something like AI and data.
instead of, the role of CDO specifically at a technology company, now this role is across every industry because you have to be in order to compete in an ever-increasing environment.
Yeah, you can't, I mean, when this role didn't exist before, what you had was you had various people performing little functions. Right? And then they would all do something a little bit different. And that's not good.
You need some consistency in there.
Not good, right? Because that's when you say, oh, can't we have all our data the same, or can't it all be in one location, and things like that. And that has to do with different people making different decisions. So really it is that kind of enterprise scale, how do you combine things? How do you know that that data is high quality and I can trust it? Or if there's 6 different copies of it, and that's where Data Cloud helps. You don't want to have 6 different copies of something, or someone uses it for 10 other things that you don't know about. And so trusting your data is very, very important. I mean, imagine if you went to the bank and you couldn't trust exactly how much money was inside your bank when you got there.
I'll be right back. I'm terrified.
Exactly. I'm going to count it, all of it. Yeah.
It's been fascinating to hear, over the past couple of years, but now I want to look, much further down the road. How are you using data to prepare the business for the next decade?
I mean, the way that's going to have to be prepared is everything's going to have to be more end-to-end now. We can't be having like small point solutions or science experiments around. We're going to have to understand when a drug gets discovered, for what it gets discovered for. It's going to have to be manufactured efficiently. It's going to have to get to the patient efficiently through supply chain. And all of these things have to be thought through together rather than just saying, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this. So that's really where the power and magic of the data connecting everything is going to be.
Back to focusing on you quickly on a personal note, over the near term, Joyce, what will you be primarily focused on, over the next couple of months?
Over the next couple of months, really, Ryan, it's going to be focusing on how we scale everything across the globe. Importantly, instead of doing, as I mentioned, little projects here and there, we have to look at how we're going to do things on a wide scale and how we're going to do things fast. And really, that's going to have a lot to do with clean data, using on Data Cloud. It's going to have to do a lot with using artificial intelligence from that data, and then being able to produce insights that we're going to be able to utilize.
Joyce, I'm excited to see what's next for the audience watching. How can they learn more?
Well, you can learn more by visiting our Sanofi website. Just take a look and see some of the things that we do. We are posting regularly on some of the things that we're working on, so we're really excited about that.
Joyce, it's been an absolute pleasure sitting down with you on Data Cloud Now. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Ryan.
For the audience watching, I'm Ryan Green with Data Cloud Now. We'll see you soon.